It was a perfect day for a wedding, the kind of brilliant, cloudless June afternoon that poets write about. The sky was a vast, unbroken canvas of blue. But the moment the bride, radiant and hopeful, began her walk down the aisle toward the man she was about to marry, a single violent storm cloud materialized from nowhere. It was a meteorological impossibility, a freak of nature that would become a chilling and undeniable warning from God. This is the incredible true story of a divine intervention that stopped a wedding, and the dark secret that, once revealed, proved that the storm was not a random act of weather, but a desperate act of spiritual protection. The bride's name was Jessica. She was marrying the man she thought was the answer to her prayers. He was charming, successful, and doted on her. Their outdoor wedding was set in a magnificent garden, with hundreds of guests seated in pristine white chairs. The atmosphere was one of pure joy, the air filled with the scent of roses and the sound of a string quartet. As the music swelled and Jessica began her walk on her father's arm, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Directly above the altar, a small, dark cloud was rapidly forming in the otherwise perfect sky. It was bizarre, like a drop of ink bleeding into a glass of water. Within seconds, the small cloud grew into a monstrous, churning thunderhead, turning the sky from a cheerful blue to an ominous, bruised purple. The shift was so sudden, so unnatural, it felt like a special effect in a movie. Before Jessica could even reach the halfway point, the single cloud unleashed a torrent. A furious, localized downpour, accompanied by violent gusts of wind, erupted directly over the ceremony. It rained nowhere else, only on that small patch of manicured lawn. The wind tore down the floral arch, sent chairs tumbling, and drenched the terrified guests. The string quartet's music devolved into a panicked shriek of strings. The beautiful, perfect wedding had descended into chaos in less than a minute. It was over as quickly as it began. The rain stopped, the wind died down, and the sun reappeared, shining brightly as if nothing had happened. The single dark cloud dissipated, leaving behind a scene of utter devastation and a profound, unsettling mystery. Why would a perfect day be so violently interrupted at the most crucial moment? What kind of sign was this? The immediate aftermath was a flurry of logistical panic trying to salvage the day. But a seed of deep unease had been planted in Jessica's heart. The storm felt too personal, too precisely timed to be a coincidence. Her devout grandmother pulled her aside, her face pale. "This is a warning, child," she whispered, her voice trembling. "God does not want this marriage to happen." Jessica, though shaken, tried to dismiss it. It was a fluke, a bizarre weather event. Her fiancé was furious, blaming the venue, the weather forecasters, everyone but the heavens. His rage was so intense it was frightening. In that moment, seeing the ugly, uncontrolled anger on his face, Jessica felt the first real crack in her perfect image of him. The wedding was postponed, rescheduled for a month later at an indoor venue. But the divine intervention had already done its work. It had created a pause, a space for doubt and scrutiny to enter. The unsettling feeling from that day gnawed at Jessica. It was a spiritual splinter in her soul, a divine warning that she could no longer ignore. What was God trying to tell her? Why would he send such a violent and public message to stop what she believed was a blessed union? Compelled by a feeling she couldn't explain, a feeling that was a mixture of fear and a strange divine guidance, Jessica started to do something she had never thought to do before. She started to look more closely at the man she was about to marry. She spoke to his family members not at a party, but in quiet, one-on-one conversations. She contacted an old friend of his from college whom he had never wanted her to meet. A different picture began to emerge, a picture that was terrifyingly different from the charming man she knew. She discovered a hidden history of explosive anger, of broken relationships, and most chillingly, of accusations of abuse from a former girlfriend who had been too afraid to press charges. The man she was about to give her life to was a master of deception, a predator hiding behind a mask of charm. The beautiful facade he had constructed for her was just that, a facade. The violent storm that had ruined her wedding day was a perfect, terrifying metaphor for the man he truly was. It was a divine preview of the life that awaited her had she gone through with the marriage. The clear sky was the illusion he presented to the world. The sudden, violent, and destructive storm was the reality of his hidden nature. God had not ruined her wedding day. He had saved her life. He had sent a warning so loud, so public, so undeniable that she could not ignore it. It was an act of profound and loving protection, a divine intervention designed to shield her from a future of pain and fear. When Jessica confronted her fiancé with what she had learned, the charming mask disintegrated. The rage she had glimpsed on the day of the storm erupted in full force, and in that horrifying moment, she saw the truth. She saw the man God had protected her from. She ended the engagement immediately. This story is a powerful testament to the reality of divine warnings. These messages often come not as gentle whispers, but as loud, inconvenient, and sometimes frightening interruptions to our plans. God will sometimes put a roadblock in our path, not to punish us, but to protect us from a danger we cannot see. The canceled flight, the missed opportunity, the sudden, inexplicable failure of a plan, these moments of frustration and disappointment may in fact be acts of divine grace. They are a sign that God's plan for you is better than your own, and that He is steering you away from a hidden danger and toward a safer, more blessed path. We must learn to pay attention to these signs, to the universe's interruptions. When something feels fundamentally wrong, when a perfect day is suddenly and inexplicably shattered, we must have the wisdom to pause and ask, what is God trying to tell me? The storm that stopped the wedding was a message of pure, protective love. It was a reminder that the divine is always watching over us, and that sometimes the greatest blessings come in the form of a storm. If you have ever felt protected by a divine intervention or a mysterious warning, consider following for more stories that reveal the sacred and protective presence of God in our lives.